Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the show that shares everything with you that should be done before saying I do. This is Before I Do here on the Couples Academy Network. My name is Walter Jennings.
My name is Charmaine Jennings.
And we are here to facilitate courageous conversations on dating and relationships. So whether you are dating, engaged, married, not sure if you want to be married or single, then we are here. It is our honor and pleasure to speak with you about everything related to dating and relationships.
And I'm sorry I'm giggling because I love your voice.
Oh, better go ahead.
All right, so this show is meant to be interactive. Yes. So when we pose our speak now or forever hold your peace question, please do not hold your peace. Go ahead and weigh in. We want to know more about you. And so that is your opportunity to let us know what you think, what you feel, what you have experienced, or what, you know, some of your loved ones or your friends have experienced so that we can provide you the support that you need.
Absolutely. And we're definitely interested in getting your feedback and your comments tonight because we're dealing with the topic that really encompasses many of you who watch this show who often may feel as though, you know, I am not a young person, but I am interested in dating and getting in a relationship, but I've been married before. I am divorced. And so tonight our topic is dating after divorce or breakup. Are you ready?
Hey.
And so we want to talk tonight about what does that look like as far as with being prepared and ready to enter into a relationship after a divorce or after a breakup, which can be a really challenging thing.
It can really be a challenging thing because, you know, really it can be a very natural process to be like, you know what? Okay, let's be honest. There's a lot of statements out there. There's statements that say, you know, the best way to get over someone else is to get under someone else. All right. Now we know we don't subscribe to that. Okay. Don't do that.
Please don't.
Don't do that. Okay. Don't go get under somebody else to get over somebody else. Like, don't do that. Okay. Because the space between really ending one relationship and then beginning another, that is a gift to yourself. That is the time that you have to really reflect and really, you know, make sure that your self-talk is healthy, to make sure that you literally have gotten that mental clarity that you need to provide space for a possible new relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. And the bottom line is whether you are divorced or whether you are getting out of a relationship and experiencing a breakup, there is an experience of loss. And anytime that there is a loss, there is a grieving. Sometimes depression can set in because there is something that has been lost. Sometimes it's not just the relationship in and of itself, the loss of the presence of the person in your life. Sometimes people feel as though they've lost a portion of themselves. There are several things that when we enter into a relationship, we will suppress or let go and
sacrifice surrender,
because of being in the relationship with this other person. So part of it is recognizing the magnitude of the relationship that you are in. So whether you're in the process of grieving, it's important that as you're handling the stress of entering that separation stage, that you remain committed to your personal health and the journey, as Charmaine mentioned. And again, a lot of people will go from relationship to relationship because they are not in the business of really wanting to see themselves and really understand and know who they are, or how people may have experienced them in the relationship. And also sometimes it's painful to really do that self-reflection or to really see ourselves for who we actually truly are and how we show up.
Absolutely. I mean, you're dealing with a variety of areas of wellness, right? And so first of all, I'm just going to put the plug out there. You need to book us for a session.
Absolutely,
okay?
Yeah.
Because we love to do those individual wellness assessments, right? You might be your emotional wellness, you may be fine after the breakup.
And can I give you a shout out? I want to give Charmaine a shout out because not just she's my wife, but she's actually walking through. One of our clients is a woman who is experiencing a divorce. And I tell you, the things that you've been able to share about her as she's walked through this process, it's been really beautiful listening to some of the reflections and revelations that she has gotten, not only from the relationship, but from herself, by having someone like you, by having someone to walk you through that process. And so absolutely, if you're going through a difficult breakup and you're not really handling it well, or don't know how to handle it, or if you're walking through a divorce, we are absolutely here for you to help you make sure that you're doing it in a healthy way.
Yeah, I mean that it's really, I'm telling you, it's the best gift that you can give yourself. And the grief process, the cycle is real, right? You know, you're going from shock to denial to bargaining to anger, to depression, and then when you get to a place of acceptance, that's not even the final phase in the grief cycle, right? The last phase is hope. Hope. And sometimes we can get stuck in one of those phases, or we get on a hamster wheel in one of those areas of the grief cycle. And you know what? It's like, I don't know that I'm ever going to find anybody else. Like, when you don't have hope, right? That there is a potential person who can love you the way that you deserve to be loved and to treat you the way that you deserve to be treated. It goes back to us supporting you and making sure you are the very leader in the thing that you want. Loving yourself the way that you're expecting somebody else to love you. And it is a process and it's a journey. You've been through some breakups?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've been through some breakups and, you know, some long-term relationships that didn't work out. We broke out. I was going to share. Yeah. So everybody out there, and before I do land, we have broken up before. And I actually,
it wasn't cute.
It was not. It was ugly. It was a bit contentious. I mean, a few days later, I saw somebody in somebody else's car, and it was just like, man, you know, this is just the end of the world. But this actually goes right into our Speak Now question of the night, which is, what have you found to be the most challenging hurdle to dating after a breakup? So after you've broken up with someone, what is it that you found to be the most difficult? And so please be sure to put your comments in the chat, because especially with this particular topic, talking about breakups, talking about divorce, we want to hear from you. So you were asking me, I've been through some breakups. And so what I would say is that absolutely the challenge that I realize in retrospect is that I would rush to get back into a relationship, or not even a relationship, but rush to get with someone to validate me, and that the problem or the breakup wasn't my fault, but it was the person's fault. They didn't recognize and appreciate who I was. And so using other people as a way of affirming myself, when what I should have done is taking the time to really, again, step back, take inventory of what has happened, own myself, and see how I can grow in being able to move forward. So what happens is, when you get in that cycle again of jumping from relationship to relationship to relationship, you end up really losing yourself. And you're not really sure of who you are, and you ultimately become this mixture and amalgamation of all the people that you're dating, because you're so busy in trying to make sure that you're having a good, healthy relationship, that you don't really fully subscribe to who it is you are and what you may need.
You know what? I just had a light bulb moment about some of my challenges with breakups. And it really, the light bulb moment happened because I realized I responded very differently for the first time our breakup than I did in all of my previous relationships.
That is very absolutely. That was very true. That's very true.
The people are like, well, what are you talking about, Charmaine? Spill the tea. Okay, my first few breakups and relationships, to be honest, it was just like I hadn't really had a strong emotional attachment to, because it was in the early phases of dating. So for me, there was a lot of betrayal. So like, you know, it wasn't a lot of betrayal. I'll say that one, and this was way back when, y'all, in high school, for example, the few guys that I started to date in high school, one tried to kiss me in public. He tried to kiss me at school in the hallway in front of everybody. I had never been kissed before.
The nerve.
I had never been kissed before. So I'm like deer in the headlights, shocked, like, okay, he is going in for a kiss. This is not happening. I turned and I fight, flight, or freeze, y'all. I flew out of there. Okay. I went in my class, and unfortunately it was humiliating for him because he was like, okay, people saw that he was trying to kiss me. And I was like devastated. I'm not going to have my first kiss in front of all of these people. I was a very private person. And, the other breakup that that was pretty bad. So I realized I had a trigger of, I guess being, things being out there publicly and unfortunately I was embarrassed, and I was very private, but then that humiliated him on that end. So I realized that for me, communication was big. And I guess I had dated a couple of guys who they had a physical interest in me, but it didn't seem like they were interested in me. Intellectually. And so for me, that was something I learned. And I learned about myself that when that happens, it's easier for me to just kind of walk away.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, everyone. So again, our Speak Now question of the night: what have you found to be the most challenging hurdle to dating after a breakup? We are going to take a really quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with more. Before I do, stay tuned, everybody.
Welcome to the Couples Academy app. The Couples Academy app is your go-to hub for how to do marriage right. Get started with our app today by perusing our amazing features that conveniently allow you to connect. This app is packed with powerful content and resources to help you grow and stay connected. With this app, you can watch our messages, find marriage resources, watch, listen, and read the real-life stories of restored couples, sign up for events, read articles and blog posts, stay up to date with push notifications, share your favorite messages via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or email, and download messages for offline listening. For more information about the Couples Academy app, go to couplesacademy.org.
All right, everyone, welcome back to Before I Do. Tonight, we are talking about dating after divorce or breakup. Are you ready? And our Speak Now question of the night that we're asking you to respond to is: what have you found to be the most challenging hurdle to dating after a breakup? We actually have a comment from Quita B. Hey, Quita B. Hey. Quita says, just starting over and opening back up with someone. So that's one of the things that I've heard from people who are dating in this day and age. Is just the whole idea of having to reintroduce yourself, to have, introduce yourself to someone over and, not the same person, but reintroduce yourself to people over and over again, and figuring out what to say, what not to say, when to be vulnerable, what things you should withhold. And so absolutely, that makes complete sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And definitely something that it's important too. What we always used to tell our daughter, right, is that when you are considering dating someone, focus on being their friend first. So focus on being their friend rather than entering right into dating them. Focus on, a more of a platonic level as it relates to getting to know them as a friend, so it can hopefully be a little less intimidating.
Absolutely. And so we're going to give you some tips to know if you are ready to date after a breakup, after a divorce. Like, these are some tips. And so tip number one, get ready to write it down. Write it down, right? Tip number one is pretty much you've properly, not probably, you have properly grieved your previous relationships.
Ring the bell on
come
that.
on. You please, if you're going out on your first date and every other word is my ex, my ex, my ex, my ex, you are not out of that relationship. You might physically be out of that relationship, but you are still emotionally and intellectually, mentally in that relationship, because you are still, every other third word is coming out of your mouth about your ex.
Right.
Or you are seeing your ex anytime this person behaves in a way that, reminds you of that person. And so this person is still in your life. You have not properly grieved and gotten to a place of, and then that doesn't mean you forget them, but grief is, hey, I've gone through the bargaining, the depression, the shock, the acceptance, hope. Like grief, it does come and go, but at least you're properly in a healthy place where you can fully be open and invested into new opportunities and new relationships.
Absolutely. And no one can tell you how long that grief process is.
Absolutely.
We are not here to tell you how long the grief process is. But what we can say is that part of the way that you know that you've completed the grief process is when you can talk about and address that issue without becoming so strongly emotionally triggered, where now your feelings and emotions are being governed by this particular talk and having this conversation in that way. When you're able to really sort of in a way control your emotions regarding that topic or regarding that person, that's how you know you've effectively usually dealt with the grieving process. All right, number 2, you want to date, but you don't need to date. You're dating because you want to date, not necessarily because you need to. And so, as we mentioned previously, it's very important that you not use dating as a way to get over your ex. You want to be in a place where you're not dating out of spite or loneliness or being petty, and you're willing to open your best self up to potential new partners. And so if you find yourself reactively getting on dating apps after finding out you're chasing behind your ex, not necessarily trying to do what they're doing, but you're seeing who they did. They're on the app, so you're on the app. They're in this particular space, so you try to be in this space. And so they're in a relationship, so now you want them to see what you are doing, right? You really want to take a step back and consider what is really best for you. It's a good opportunity also as well to really not only get to know yourself, but often to reconnect with your friends and your family members also. Remember, those are the individuals that usually when you're in a relationship, you often pull back from them because you're focusing your time and your energy and emotions on this person that you're in a relationship. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But this is also an opportunity for you to reconnect with those individuals.
I can tell you this too. It's so funny to use the word petty, okay? Because we're going to be using that quite a bit coming up. But you know that when you are operating in that petty and I need them to see me winning. I need them to see me and notice this and that. When you operating in petty, you are still in a relationship with them.
There you go.
You might not physically be in a relationship, but you give them your mental moments. You give them those mental minutes. And that means you are not ready.
And you're still grieving.
You are still grieving.
That is still a part of that grieving process, because as we mentioned, now you're being driven, your emotions are driving you into wanting to be seen by this person and wanting that person to see you. So
I operated in petty. I definitely
you did a good job too. You did a good job. I was like, wow.
Because he was the one that broke up with me, y'all.
Yeah, it was.
He broke up with me, and so you know, my regimen back in the day, you're gonna be dressed to kill and looking amazing.
And then somebody else called.
In case
that's what I was,
you run into the ex, right? They can see you look amazing, right? But that's how you know. But it was only like 3 days later?
Yeah.
It was like 3 days later. But it's one of those things where when you're in that mode, you are still in the relationship is still very much real in your mind. And I still was hopeful that we would get back together. All right, y'all. So the number 3 tip is you've identified your role in the dissolving of the relationship.
Ring the bell.
I will repeat that for everyone.
Listen.
You've identified your role. We're talking about responsibility. We're talking about accountability. We're talking about auditing how you showed up in the relationship, how the other person experienced you, what you learned about yourself in this relationship, through this relationship, because of this relationship. So this is what we call doing the work.
Yes.
Okay. Doing the work. This is the gift of the time between the breakup and you healing. This is a step people want to skip.
Absolutely. So often with this particular step, people, when they break up or divorce, they are quick to want to deflect on the person being at fault for why they are where they are as it relates to the relationship. This is an opportunity for you to take inventory on you and your role within the relationship. Now, the other part of this, right, is that often when people go through a divorce or a breakup, now they completely villainize that person that they've been in a relationship. They are the worst person in the entire world. And one of the first questions I ask, if they're so bad, why were you in a relationship with them for so long? There had to be some good redeeming qualities about them. And so again, it's important to make sure that you're honest with yourself about what was your role in the relationship. Were there some blind spots? Were there some red flags? Were there some things that you might have missed? Were there some behaviors and some habits that you might have let go that you didn't necessarily check? Did you betray some of your principles and ignore some of the things that normally you would have held people accountable for?
This is hard, everybody. This is hard because I'm going to tell you, there are rewards. We don't continue to do something unless there are certain rewards and benefits from us. So this part is hard because we have to acknowledge really what was our addiction? What were we drawn to? You kept coming back for something. So was it the attention? Was it I just need a presence? I need a person to be in my life. I can't be alone, right? Were you operating in fear? Were you operating in addiction? Were you operating in what was the thing that you craved? And that person to some degree supported that. Maybe it's, I can't be alone. And so we all have to do that internal work, and I think for me, it was, for me, it was abandonment. Like I know that, man, there was a fear of abandonment, right? And so sometimes if I saw the writing on the wall, it's like, okay, yeah, no, that's not gonna work because, I don't even want to get close to this person because this seemed like somebody who just, it's kind of, they'll be out the door in a minute. And so we all have to kind of own some of our internal fears. We have to own our cravings, the things that we desire, and ask, are we operating in a healthy way? And so that step is a powerful one, to audit you and to do your work.
So a good way to think about it, right, is that with the majority of vaccines and, like, for example, antibodies, as far as, like, let's say you get bit by a snake, the vaccine or the shot that they give you, a portion of that venom is actually a part of the remedy. What we mean by that is it's important for you to understand some of your vulnerabilities and some of the areas where you may be, where you realize that, dang, I've got a stronghold here. When you're able to be honest about those things, you can actually address it and you can learn how to master self. But if you never do the work, if you're never honest about some of the challenges that you have, if you go around completely continuing to deflect and blame other people, then it prevents you from really doing that work so that you can strengthen yourself.
Absolutely. It's interesting because I started to notice, I started to fine tune what I was attracted to, right? And sometimes
ring the bell. Wow. That's big.
So for me, the dating process can really kind of give you some clarity. The older you get, you start to like, yeah, I know what I like and I know what I don't like. But when I was younger dating, so if you're younger, you're out there, you haven't been dating just for a couple of years, and sometimes really every experience is a teacher. Will you be a student to it? Will you be a scholar to it? Will you learn from it, right? Learn about yourself, right? Mastering yourself. And one thing I learned is that, man, in some ways, I was drawn to the leadership that reflected my dad's leadership in my home. Like that was attracted to me. A man that can cook, a man that can clean up, a man that takes care of himself, a man that was attractive to me. And so I noticed I was drawn to that, right? A man who listened to me and actually was an intellect, like that was what I was drawn to. And so I think for me, at the first sign of, so I realized when I broke up with someone or when it just didn't work out, it usually was because of those things. When I was broken up with, that didn't feel so good.
Hey, so we're going to take another quick commercial break. We'll be right back with more. Before I do, again, tonight's topic, dating after divorce and breakup. Are you ready? Stay tuned, everybody. Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to Before I Do. Tonight's topic is dating after divorce and breakup. Are you ready? And we just went over a couple of telltale signs that you are ready to date after a divorce or a breakup. So hopefully you all were able to record those. Tonight, we're focusing on more of the emotional aspect of dating. And so what we want to share and close with are 3 tips for making sure that you are emotionally ready to date again.
All right.
All right. So tip number 1 is the fact that you want to take a hard look at your beliefs in yourself in regard to relationships. You want to make sure that you are accepting that you are worthy of a close, loving relationship. A lot of people do not feel as though they are worthy of a close, of a strong relationship. A lot of people continue to persist in dysfunction, maybe because that's what they've seen modeled, or because intrinsically they do not feel that they are worthy of a strong, healthy relationship. So you really want to take a look at your values, what you believe about yourself in regard to what you think you deserve. And is there a way to challenge that belief? And because you're never going to be able to hold your partner accountable for the way that they are entreating you if you do not feel that you are worthy of proper treatment. So you want to ensure that you are looking at your principles, checking your beliefs in regard to how you are showing up in a relationship.
Absolutely. Worth is huge. And so again, sometimes when you've been in a relationship, because of those sacrifices, because of the service, customer service, loyalty, all the things that you've gifted your partner, it can easily feel like after a breakup that you are somehow devalued. And you might be doing that yourself, or perhaps some areas in the relationship you've allowed that to occur through your partner. Number 2, take responsibility for your emotions, right? We are in control of our temper. If you find yourself saying, oh my gosh, they make me so mad, or they make me cuss them out, or they make me, he made me, slit his tires and bust the windows out of his car. Okay, did he really make you do that? Or did you, stand up and go outside and do all of that stuff yourself? So we want to make sure that we're taking responsibilities for our emotions, because our emotions definitely move from that, from our body, and it moves down to our hands and our feet. And we will find ourselves acting in a way that is not healthy and could cause some huge consequences. Women, especially, I'm going to talk to you, my ladies, okay? Sometimes we don't handle breakups very well, and especially if we poured so much into the relationship and we feel kind of, that this came to us as a surprise when we're broken up with. We can really respond in an unhealthy way, harming ourselves, harming others. And if you are a parent, or we can really compromise a lot of things, our jobs and even our freedom.
Absolutely. And I wanted to share, right, that if a person can drive you to emotionally respond that way, then ultimately what you are saying is that they are the ones that govern your emotions, that they have control over your emotional state. And the question is, do you really want to communicate that message? Do you really want to have someone that wields that type of power over you? And so you really want to make sure that you are taking responsibility for your emotions. And lastly, and this is a challenging one, be happy with where you are in life. True happiness can't be defined by anyone that you currently have or that you let in your life. It has to come from you, and you have to be able to find that happiness within yourself. Now, to be clear, there may be some challenges where you may not necessarily be at a place in life that you thought you were in. And especially when you're at a certain age. I thought I would be married. I thought I have children. I thought I have this job. I thought I had made this amount of money. I thought I'd be driving this car. And those things can rob us of being able to appreciate where we are in life right now, taking inventory, and it's funny that we're even talking about this, right? Because today I was walking out of work, and I'm going to go spiritual on y'all for one quick second, right? I was walking out of work and I was like, man, I got so much stuff to do. And the Holy Spirit reminded me, in the past 6 days, I have written and performed a new poem. I have written and preached a sermon. And I have written and given a keynote speech. In the past 6 days. It hasn't even been a week. And so I had to stop and appreciate that. So again, we can become so busy in worrying about what the next thing is, where we need to go, what we need to accomplish, that we don't take a moment to really, again, take inventory of what the things that we're doing or we've already done. So it's very important that we ensure that we take inventory of that.
Absolutely. When you start to, and there's a lot of people that says, oh, keep a gratitude journal. It goes back to, I can remember a saying that the elders in the church would say, count your blessings one by one. If you start to audit, you keep a journal and you literally spend your spare time when you're not having to, do some of the things in your day to day, and you really count your blessings one by one, you count and appreciate everything you should appreciate. Man, you literally don't have time to complain. Your emotional mood, the anger, all of those things will lift off of you. And that is what we are here. And all of the practitioners at Couples Academy are here to support you with. How can I change my emotional set? How could Jeff loves to say change the channel, right? But how can I move myself from a place of heaviness, depression, weighted down, to a place of calm and peace? And let me tell you, the root of happiness, you have to have your peace. And so if happiness is a hard goal to accomplish after a very tumultuous, especially if it's a hard breakup, right? Peace needs to be the goal. How can every day you capture and hone in on a space, a place, a moment of peace? And when you start to expand peace in your life and what that looks, feels, and sounds like within your circle of control, right? Not operating in, I need somebody else to do this so I have peace. No. I am in control of this thing right now so I can have peace in this. You'll get closer to a place of happiness.
Absolutely. Hey, so everyone, hope you got it, man. This is good. So yeah, we're definitely going to have a part 2 to this. Damien says, this is good. Thanks for sharing this information. It's making me look at past situations differently. Damien, absolutely. And that's part of the goal, is for us to be able to look back on those relationships and what are the lessons that we need to extract and learn from those things. How do we show up? Are there some consistent things that we're doing within those relationships that maybe we need to adjust and that we need to change? So absolutely, we want to make sure that we're doing that. So we definitely will be coming back with more in part 2. And in the meantime, we're so excited because we've got the Phoenix Awards Gala that is coming up in October. The Phoenix Awards Gala is the Couples Academy celebration of love and relationships. So it is going to be taking place in Alpharetta, Georgia, which is a suburb of Atlanta. Yes, Saturday, October the 7th at 7 p.m. We will be there in our black tie best, and we are hoping that you will join us. You can go to couplesacademy.com for more information and to get your tickets. It's going to be an absolutely amazing affair, and we're asking you to join us there.
Yes, we want to see you. It will be a night of dancing, celebrations. If you are an advocate for marriage, if you are a champion for marriage, and it doesn't mean that you have to even be married.
Absolutely
to be
not.
there.
That's right.
We want to see you. All right, come, faith it forward. Come. It's a networking opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to meet us in person and to fellowship with us. We want to celebrate life and the beauty thereof, right? And so, who knows?
We're funny, y'all. Just so y'all think we funny. Y'all enjoy us on this show. Laquita will tell you, y'all think we funny on this show? Come hang around us in person. Telling you, man. But no, it's going to be an amazing night of celebrating love. And so we encourage you again to go to couplesacademy.com, get your tickets, join us on Saturday, October the 7th in Alpharetta, Georgia for the Couples Academy Phoenix Gala.
Yeah, there's some great surprises too. All right, you don't want to miss. You want to be in the room. And so I'm super excited.
Absolutely, I am too. Hey, thank y'all so much for joining us for tonight's. Before I do, join us next week for part 2 of Dating After Divorce. Are you ready? We're going to be dealing with the physical side.
Yes.
We'll be dealing with the physical side next week. All right, everybody. Until next week, we'll see y'all then. Good night, everyone.